Hello trumpet players! So I'm going to be recording both the Trumpet 1 and the Trumpet 2 video together until I tell you that we're splitting up. The video is meant for both Trumpet 1 and Trumpet 2 to use. At one point I will start talking about the difference in Trumpet 1, which starts at measure 47, but up until then, everyone hang on, and then at that point I'll put in the video where Trumpet 2 picks up from that. So today we are going to just start where we ended last week, warm up with our full octave scale. We are going to do it this time with the B flat in the key signature. So instead of playing a B for 8 beats during this, you will play a B flat. So open up your metronome, 8 beats on each note. 1, 2, ready. Flat, first finger only. Last note, open C. So then you stop the metronome, pause me, do that a couple times. Make sure that you are stable, warmed up, your instrument is warmed up and you're ready to go. Take out your mouthpiece, do the scales on your mouthpiece. Try to get that B flat in there too. Now, we worked till measure 33 last time. I will work measure 33 to 47 with both Trumpet 1 and Trumpet 2. You play the exact same thing, and then I will work specifically with Trumpet 1 and then with Trumpet 2. So, your homework today is going to be to play this at 60 beats per minute with a metronome. Now, that metronome, you'll just need to be playing in the background. I'm going to start at 33. It goes to allegro, which is about here. If you listen to the recording, you've heard this. Bum, ba, da, dum, bum, 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 bum. That's too fast to sight read and practice with for now, which is why we're going to 60 beats per minute. So off the bat, you look at the rhythms. Count them out. Ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, off. That is the rhythm. Now pause me, rewind me, do that with me a couple times until you don't make any mistakes. Note the rhythm is straight. We're not playing jazz during this piece. This is a concert band piece. So this 1, 2, and 3, 4 is very straight. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Not 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. That's the jazz swing feel. Do not play it. Bow, bow, ba-down, bow, bow, bow. It's not jazz. It's ba, 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 ba. Right? I will play from measure 33 to measure 41. 1, 2, ready, go. Now, notice my articulation. It does not say they are legato like the section before. We are not staccato, where it's super detached. It's not. It's also not completely connected. It's somewhere in between that. So your tonguing has to separate the notes, but not make them completely detached. So work with that. This is where I'm going to start talking about trumpet 1. So trumpet 2 I have posted at the bottom of the screen where you can start your individual lesson. And go there now and I'll see you in the future. Trumpet 1, starting at 47. It's a lot of the same rhythms, so I'm just going to shut up and play it. When we get to 57, watch your shaping on it. It's all all half notes, so you know you're probably not the most important thing here, despite desperately wanting to be because you're a trumpet player. You are not the most important thing that happens at 57. But build it, so every measure, I want it to have a crescendo and a decrescendo. So pretend, let me get a pencil working in here. Ah, that is much too large a pencil. Let's get a thin one in here. Pretend every measure has a hairpin on it. So you get louder on the first note, quieter on the second note. Same with the next measure. Ah. Louder on the first note, quieter on the second note. All the way through that section, right? So, here's measure 47 up here. 1, 2, ready, go. So that is measure 47 to the end. Notice while I'm playing, I am articulating in the way we just talked about. The one section that will probably be the most challenging here is actually probably measure 50 I'm thinking of. Also happens in measure 34, that phrase, and 74 is quite a leap around. So that's something where you might want to set a metronome just on that one measure between D, G, E, C, and try to get faster and faster with that. One thing that's going to be even harder is technically when you play any note including the third valve, your slide that your third finger of your left hand is in, this one here, should be moved down. That's why that exists. It's not just to look pretty. Because normally, D is super sharp. Any note that includes the third valve is usually sharp. So they built this in here to make it a little bit easier for you to make that note sound more on pitch, right? Instead of. So when you're doing that section, look at measure 34. Not only is your right hand fingers changing, that first note, your third finger valve needs to actually be out for it. And then push all the way back in for that high G. So it's in tune, otherwise it's sharp. So measure 34. Make sure that D is in tune. Other things to point out, really work on your breath support during this piece. You should only really be breathing where breath marks are. I know I'm not practicing what I preach right now, but that's because I'm also learning this piece. I'm sight reading it. So try to develop to the point where you only breathe when there's breath marks. Also at 73, it does say forte, yes. But every trumpet player should know that when a composer asks you to play forte, you're supposed to play the composer's forte, not a trumpet forte. So a forte for you does not mean blow the roof off the place. A forte for a clarinet means they play as loud as they can. A forte for a trumpet means you play at about 75%, because 100% is way too loud for a trumpet. Very rarely, other than for effect, will you ever be asked to play your loudest. This forte, interpret as 70 to 75% of your maximum. It still has to be a pretty note. Okay? So your homework this week is to record measures 33 through the end at 60 beats per minute, counting the rests, and submit that to the Google Drive. Email me if you have any questions. And sorry, Trumpet 1, I'm going to just throw this in right here before we start with Trumpet 2. I forgot to play it through with the recording just so you can hear it. I will do that now. It is not your homework to record it with the recording, but I figured you might want to hear it with it, and if you're feeling adventurous enough, you can play it with the recording yourself. Just so you know, measure 33 starts at about 1 minute and 45 seconds into the recording, so I'm going to put it slightly before that, leading up to measure 33. practice the recording if you'd like to. Homework is 60 beats per minute with a metronome, 33 to the end. Talk to you later. And now on to trumpet 2. Hello, trumpet 2. We're going to flip right over to your page. I'm going to erase that little black line that I just drew. Close the markup section and move over. So I'm going to start at measure 47. We're going to talk after I play up until measure 41. Metronome, 60 beats per minute. 1, 2, 47. There's the whole piece. I did not intend to play it all the way through, but there you go. So, main differences between trumpet 1 and you is you are playing slightly lower some of the time, but you also match up with trumpet 1 a lot of the time. So, I will tell you what I told trumpet 1, which is at 73, that F does not mean play as loud as you humanly can. It means play at about 70% of your volume. A forte for trumpet is the composer's forte, not your forte. Forte means strong, it does not mean disgustingly loud, and the trumpet can be a disgustingly loud instrument. It still needs to be a beautiful note. So play forte at about 70% of your maximum. When a forte appears on a clarinet piece of music, it means play as loud as you can most of the time, because clarinets can't project quite as much as the trumpet can. So that's 1. 2, that anytime you see a D, fingers 1 and 3, this is a habit we should get used to doing. I've talked a little bit about this in class, but your third finger slide over here, where your left third finger has in the ring, needs to move out a little bit. It's not just a decoration piece here at the bottom. It makes any note that has the third valve pressed down more natural sounding, more close to the note, because without it, it sounds sharp. So going from a C to a D, that D is super sharp. If I throw out my third valve slide while I play that D and move it back when I play the C, it sounds more in tune. Right? So at measure 34, measure 50, measure Here's one more, 74. All of those measures have that D, G, E, C section. Practice throwing your third valve slide while you do that. That's going to be one of the hardest parts. Other than that, it's not super difficult. Remember that that low B flat that you play at measure 47 is the same fingering as the high B flat, which is just one finger down. Now, I'm going to play it with the recording. You do not have to play it with the recording this week. It is not your homework to do that. If you want to, be my guest, but I will need you to record it at 60 beats per minute with the metronome anyways. So, here it is, starting at measure 33. So that's the end of the piece right there. Your homework is to record it 60 beats per minute with a metronome. Wrap it up there. Let me know if you have any questions. Send me an email, send me a G-chat. I'm happy to answer them. I will be around online, and I'll talk to you next time we Zoom.